We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Many years I had accumulated a shoulder injury due to lifting heavy weights back then. You know, this was in high school. And it's kind of interesting because recently this injury's been bothering me for many years. And recently, 2018, my brother, Dr. Moreno, has suggested that I take some of his B Venom, a homeopathic solution he put together. And I was like, yeah, let me try it. Let me see what's up. At first, I was kind of skeptical to the situation, but then at the same time, with its track record, I was like, yeah, he be putting it down when it comes to homeopathic medicines and whatnot, you know, due to the history we have with each other and whatnot. So I was like, yeah, let me get some. So I end up ordering some, read the instructions, what I need to do, how much I need to illustrate within or add to my body or whatever the case may be. So over a 2-month period, I took it. I took injections from every Tuesday, so 4 times a week, 4 times a month. So I took it for 2 months, and after the second month, I noticed that my arm was not hurting anymore. The muscle had repaired itself, literally, you know, and I was like, whoa, let me start sharing this with people, you know, really start giving them an opportunity to check out what's actually involved with B Venom. So tune in. We definitely got some more exciting things. If you're interested in administrating some B Venom, check out our advertisement that we have that's supporting this podcast.
If it works, right? Hotep, I am that I am. Some call me Haru, your modern monk, your cannabis fitness strategist. Back at it again, here for you, here with you, with another episode number 107. Breathe, Dr. Moreno. Yes. Welcome to You Are the Gym podcast show. I want to give all my shout outs and my thank yous, my comments, my shares, the followers, subscribers, the downloaders. Shout out to you. Much respect. 1 billion informed per day keeps the stupidity away. I know, so I want you to take the time right now, since you're on this since you're on this platform, take the time to go to breathebook.us. That's breathe, BREATHEBOOK.US. Shout out to my brother, Dr. Moreno. Welcome to the show. How you doing today?
I'm all right, brother. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. It's always a pleasure, especially with opportunities. Matter of fact, we got a little echo, so we might have to, on your end, you probably want to turn down maybe some your mic. Because are you I don't know where you're on. Are you on your computer or are you on your phone?
No, I'm on a laptop.
Okay.
What about now?
Okay.
Still an echo?
No, it's actually better. Okay,
good.
It stopped, literally. You know, so welcome again to the show. You Are the Gym. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show, brother. Getting the insight, and especially working with you over the years by with your introduction to the different opportunities you have brought to the table. So this forum is for you. This is availability for you. You just wrote a new book. What's up? What's going on with Dr. Moreno these days?
Well, basically, right now, I'm working on improving how I address cancer and other autoimmune diseases. That's where my focus is. I really stay in that realm of organic regenerative medicine. That's where I'm at. That's where I want to stay. Of course, I'm now, introducing and blending more of an African traditional medicine type perspective to it.
Okay.
So that I can also continue to use what I know and have learned from the Cuban doctors and also the Mexican doctors. And of course, I can never turn my back on what I learned in the United States.
Interesting. Yeah. And tell us a little bit about that. I knew you have been taking some time. I mean, you've been writing books. Seem like you've been writing books, what, once a year, every 2 years or so? Kind of like the music industry, remind me a little bit. But it's definitely been, you've been very consistent with the information, at least releasing the knowledge out there available. Tell me a little bit about what this book is actually going to be talking about or going into.
Well, the book Breathe, actually, it goes into my journey and what it took for me to become a better physician. You know, a lot of times we're expecting doctors to know what they know. But a lot of times they've only been programmed. They're so robotic. You know, I basically say that, most doctors are robots. And I say that only because they're not thinking outside of what they've been taught. They're not challenging what they've been taught. They're not trying to improve what they've been taught. They're thinking that I can just continue to, give prescriptions or prescribe medications. Even after the patient complains, the doctor is still giving medication after medication. That didn't work? Okay, I'll give you a new prescription. But the person isn't really taking the time to analyze and question and have this particular patient question them. So I think that's a problem. Well, I know it's a problem.
Yes.
I've seen that it is a problem. So now what I have to do is, because I'm in a different field, I don't have the luxury of just having somebody come in and I wrongly diagnose them within a matter of 18 to 30 seconds. I don't get that luxury. Normally I spend anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half with the patient. So the way that I charge has to be, fair as well. But I definitely can't just have a person come in and I not charge them. I know what I'm doing. I've been trained. I understand what healing is all about. So, my approach is a lot different.
Yeah, and it's definitely been, I've definitely been seeing the maturity and the advancements with your particular processes as well, just being kind of an outsider and not necessarily in the medical field, but in the more of the processes behind the medical field. Let me say it like that.
Well, I appreciate that.
Because you've definitely been putting a staple in the game. The thing, and that's what's so cool about bringing you on the platform, is kind of like exploiting that a little bit. Because a lot of times, a lot of people come to me and, they're asking me about how do I keep fit? What is the things I've been doing as far as keeping healthy? And I mean healthy mentally, physically, spiritually, financially. And you have been one of those key signature elements where, okay, I'm not really seeing doctors as a lot of people tend to go, if I can't figure out what I got going on, unless it's something crazy going on with my body. But usually if you're paying attention to your body, you're going to catch it. I had a friend come to me the other day. He was telling me, he had mentioned that one of his buddies had got cancer. And it was a type of cancer. He only had a few days to live. It was crazy, a few days or a few weeks to live. And I had mentioned your name. I had mentioned what you have been doing over the past, because a lot of the information is starting to come out too. The cures, the medicine for different cancers, for different immune diseases. Because I think we tend to look for the pill, kind of like you talking about the doctor. We tend to look for the pill. Can you elaborate a little bit on why do we tend to think that it's only like one method or one type of a pill can save us, if that makes sense? Of course,
the pill would be the easiest way, and that's why in the book I explain what I went through and what I had to do. And I'm also addressing the fact that we overlook the fact that our physician can be sick. Healthy because they're in a white lab coat. They've been educated by the white institutions, and we're swearing that they know what they're talking about. And no matter where you go in the world, it basically seems to be that way. If you meet that criteria or you hit those prerequisites, of course people think that you're more intelligent.
Yes.
But of course the pill makes it a lot easier. It doesn't require any discipline. All you have to do is remember to take the pill. So of course that is easier. We've been poorly programmed by a lot of things that we do. So it's not as easy just saying that you can't do this or you shouldn't do that, but that's what's happening. So now we have to take more responsibility for who we are. If the pandemic didn't show us that the medical industry isn't ready to treat us, I don't know what it would take for us to understand that, that we're in trouble.
Great point.
We have to really be prepared to take care of ourselves and know how to treat ourselves. And that's one of the reasons that I'm starting to become more vocal. I'm preparing a course so that I can teach people in remote areas how to take care of people where they are. So if you're in the jungles, or you're in some village, or you're in some pueblo, I want to have information that will enable that person to treat those people in there. So that way there will be no excuses, and they don't have to wait for a doctor to come along and prescribe some medication, some pill, some injection, or things of that nature. Now, I say injection. I don't want to sound as if I'm being contradictory, because I use lots of organic solutions.
Okay.
For me, the needle was magical. Acupuncture points or acupoints are very magical. They're very much a part of our well-being. So when I start looking at meridians or channels throughout the body, I know sometimes they have to be stimulated. So yeah, I do speak about the use of needles, the use of injectable organic solutions quite a bit, because I know that they're necessary.
Yeah, and when it comes
to that pill, when it comes to that capsule, what I will say is this: if you have to take an herb or a synthetic medication, there is a difference, but at this point, they're both being used as a drug. And because of that, if you do have to use them, you are not at 100%.
Got you. You touch bases with the excuses and taking more responsibility, because that's what I notice even with the whole health community in general, the non-health or the dis-ease health. It's like we're even with this universal health plan or this Obama plan, everybody's like, oh yes, it's going through, boom, boom, boom. Instead of really taking on the responsibility of how can I eat better, how can I perform, more righteous ways to treat my body. This is a question maybe you can answer this, but this is something to just think about. How do we can purchase cars and all these elaborated materialistic things, right, outside of who we are, what we represent as a human species or a sapien, however you want to look at it. It's kind of interesting how we don't even acknowledge the body in general. The body is one of the most dynamic, beautiful structure in this particular dynamic or this particular plane, as we know, right? The intelligence, the whole nine. But we lack the intelligence of taking care of the body. When you have most Americans, not just most Americans, most of the population is obese. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of, the crazy thing is I'm always asking this question, even with, I'm like, how do we exalt all these other, Bugatti, we'll take care of all these other elements outside of the body, but your body look like shit. You know what I'm saying? And then you got the nerve to talk about how healthy you are or how unhealthy you are, vice versa. Because it seemed like the standard now with the health issue, or far as being in shape, now we're accepting anything and everything. This is what I'm noticing. And I think that had to do with not just with doctors or with the health industry is doing this. I think the health industry in general is doing this. We accommodating the bullshit and then we expecting different results, right?
Right.
So that's just something I just been I wanted to share with you, since you are, you are the expert within this particular field, and it's interesting just to hear the reality of what's going on. I mean, you sent me a video the other day. I mean, we might not go deeper into that, but you sent me a video the other day where doctors are starting to speak up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They're starting to be like, well, if they're, look, if my health is bad, how am I going to take care of somebody else?
Right. Okay, well, let's start with purpose first.
Okay, nice.
Let's talk about the fact that the vehicle that we've chosen for this particular plane happens to be the human body. But a lot of people really don't understand their purpose. A lot of people aren't really thinking that they have to care for it the way that they should, because when they start looking at their genetic pool or the vehicle that they chose, of course, it could be a poor choice. You know, it could be one that is obese, as you stated. It could be one that doesn't require that one exercise, that one eat properly. It could be one that has allowed the body to become the mind, or the mind to become the body, whereas the subconscious is in control of that particular vehicle. You know, so when you start looking at the fact that some people are possibly just here to assist those people that understand why they are here.
No doubt.
It makes it a lot easier for you. So what I've learned is that this is my journey, and I have to focus on it. But my journey entails me assisting others. So one thing that I cannot be is critical of how others decide to travel.
Got you.
Okay.
And understanding, definitely. Definitely understand.
Yeah, but it is a problem around the world, not just in the United States. The United States, a lot of times, obesity could be tied to how one views wealth. Sometimes what we're learning now is that obesity can also be tied to poverty. You know, so I live in a country, I live in Mexico, where as people are drinking sodas over water.
Yes.
You know, so when you start looking at the sugar consumption, and then when you start looking at the consumption of meat, I mean, people aren't taking small bites of meat. People aren't eating pieces of meat. People are eating large portions of meat, you know, and not understanding how they can be more dangerous than sugar. So I say to my patients lots of times, you know, if I had to choose between sugar and meat, I'm going to take the sugar. Now, at one time, I would have said, the meat was healthier. I no longer agree with that. And two, when we start looking at synthetic drugs and the fact that these animals are being drugged in order for them to reproduce at a faster rate and at a larger size, we're talking about, we're consuming those products that they have to take in order to survive. And they're being brought to slaughter with all types of diseases. Of course, they've been injected with all types of substances so that they make it to slaughter, but we don't see that. We don't think of that. And then to think of the fact that we want to consume something that has lived a tragic life, that in itself is a tragedy.
That's that psychology.
That's second.
That's psychology, that's psychology.
And it's marketing as well.
Yes.
Because we can look at, you know, how dare one name an animal and then slaughter it?
Yes, you're right.
You know, so all of this comes down to purpose and understanding why you're here and what you need in order to, you know, fulfill your journey, you know, or destiny. You know, so you know, again, I'm not critical of people for that anymore, you know, but if I can help, I do want to help. And, you know, and there are ways to help people with
Okay, so in as we progress, so with this new book you have written, can you sum it up with one word or two words? What would you say? What can we get from this new book you actually wrote?
I think the title itself says it all. Breathe. I mean, once you understand what is the word that I can say? Breathe is that word, because without that breath, you really won't understand, you know, just how important this life is. I mean, you can't do anything without the breath. We're seeing that now, even with the pandemic and even with COVID-19. I mean, it comes down to a respiratory illness or infection. But the breath is what lets us know that, hey, look, I'm having trouble here. We need that breath, you know.
Indeed.
I think as Tony Brown said years ago, you know, I think he was asked something in terms of what he thought of money. He was like, hey, I rank it right under air. You know, because that breath is very important. So the book is important to me because it gave me a chance to really explain how I be healing. I don't claim to heal anybody. I don't claim to cure anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I assist the body in healing. Part of that breath comes about through meditation. It's important that the person meditates that works with me, because they need to know that they are responsible for themselves. So once that person has given me their permission, not necessarily saying, hey, I want to use you, but saying to me, yes, you have my permission to assist me. Now this person is engaged. This person wants to work with me. But not only that, this person wants to work for themselves. So because of that, it makes it a lot easier for me to do what I do, for me to tell them what it is that I do. So once I've done my detoxification, after that, we need to regenerate cells, because we're trying to work on a cellular level to help this person to rebuild, to regenerate, renew themselves. So they need to meditate. Why do they need to meditate? Because they need to understand the importance of their self. They need to stop looking without, but instead look within. They need to understand and feel and harness that breath. And by doing so, they'll be able to actually start to renew their body.
Nice.
They'll be able to actually take and see what it is they want. So once that person can see that they want to be well, it's a lot easier for them to be well. As I say to some of my patients eventually, hey, write down what it is that you want. Write down the state of health that you need. And if I can get them to do that, it makes it a lot easier for them to look over what they've written on a daily basis.
Yes.
By doing so, we can now revisit that, and we have an idea. Eventually, we can trick the body into doing what it is we told it that it could do or would do.
Yes.
So meditation is important. Plant-based diet is important for my patients. They've already eaten everything they could. And I don't care if a person comes to me with a vegetarian or a vegan diet. Even if they come to me saying that they've been on a plant-based diet for some length of time, it does not matter.
Yes.
We're going to shake things up. And when I say shake things up, I may have to introduce a bone broth. So they say, no, I can't have it in my system. I'm not asking you to chew any flesh. I'm not asking you to partake of any blood. I'm basically saying to you, we need the minerals from those bones, because the minerals that you have been getting have not sufficed. So that's what my program is about. So the book, Breathe, is actually explaining how I've done it. How did I get healthy? What did I do? And I didn't do it by myself. I had to have a reminder.
Yes.
So I had somebody I had somebody tell me what I had forgotten. I had somebody tell me what to do. And speaking of forgotten, so when we come into this plane, of course we call it a birth. We don't see it as a return, but we see it more as a birth, And if we would see it as a return, it would be a lot easier for us to get focused a lot quicker. But we come to this plane, and while we're waiting to be birthed or to return, we forget everything that we said we would do, everything that we even knew.
Planned, yeah. I'm with you. Yeah.
So when we start looking at prodigies, and we start looking at the people that have skills that we don't have, we don't really understand that they had a purpose, they understood their purpose, they remembered it.
Yes.
We're thinking that, this person is just lucky as hell.
Yeah, makes sense. Even what you was elaborating on with the, even writing things down. That's another thing I think what a lot of us don't really pay attention to. That's what's so cool about you and your author particular mentality or writing mentality. You writing it down, because it literally manifests what you're actually thinking, manifests what your thoughts, right? Whatever you think on is what you're going to be manifesting on or focusing on.
Right.
So that's one of the big. That's a big one right there, and that's one of the things too that had turned me on. I mean, with you, when even back in the day when you was talking about all the books you had, your ebook library, and how we connected with that kind of make a lot more sense to me, because it's all about remembering, right? Remembering, taking back what you had. You had it before. It's just the whole point about triggering those particular, memories. Because, a lot of people, I think a lot of us live in our past. You kind of see what I'm saying? A lot of us live in our past. We're not willing to take the steps to become the better you, or to become the better me, in other words.
Okay.
So I had this question too, and it's kind of pertain to what we're. So when I say work ethic to you, what comes to mind You know what I'm saying? When I say work ethic, because I know you be grinding. I know you be putting it down, regardless of what, what's in front of you. Even with your particular clients or customers who are actually, or patients who are actually inpatient. How you go about that? What are some of the things that you've been kind of sticking to your course? What keeps you consistent, in other words?
Well, my work ethic, what keeps me consistent?
Yeah, with that, I mean, because
the idea of poverty. Yeah, the idea of poverty really keeps me consistent because I'm in a third world country, and I know people talk about Mexico being cheap. I hear it on YouTube. I hear people talking about it, and I talk to family and friends, and they swear that I'm okay. But I do have a particular sponsor that really looks out for me. I mean, she knows that if I need something, she makes sure that I can get it, or she finds a way that I can get it. So I have a sponsor that is dynamic, and
nice.
Eventually she'll be rewarded for it. But that's the beautiful thing about what I'm going through. So my work ethic is like 4:30. My body is already moving and thinking about what it needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I start my days with meditations. I know what it is that I have to do. I'm thinking about my patients. I'm thinking about my own health. I'm thinking about the projects that I need to put out, the projects I need to complete, the things I need to write, the medications that I need to improve. So that's how that's my drive. That's what it is about me. So I know people will tell me sometimes, hey, you need to slow down. You need to take a break. You need to go dance. You need to go out. So I go out to the park on the weekends, and sometimes if I'm not with my partner, poor use of words, but coming from Spanish, from pareja. But if she and I aren't at the park, I'm there with my daughter. But me, I get out, I walk. I'm always thinking of ideas. I'm always thinking of ways to improve something or to make something better. So that's me. That's who I am, and I want to be like that until the day that I take my last breath. I want to know that I contributed. I want to know that despite the fact that I may not have the credentials that a lot of people would want me to have, but I know that I came here with enough to make a change, to make a difference. And that's what I like about who I am and about this experience, about this journey.
And you
so
definitely.
That's what my work ethic is. It's not about doing what other people do. It's about doing what I feel that I need to do.
Yes, agree. And you definitely on that path. You definitely been influencing this, brother. I know that. You Are the Gym has been very influential. Influenced by Dr. Boz Moreno. But it's been, like I said, it's been a journey too. It's been a journey. So I kind of, like I said, I was going into some of these some questions that I did have, but the platform, like you said, breathe. That's on point. I'm excited to get the book. I'm definitely curious of some of the things that, even though it's a lot of things you've been offering, and if people don't know, this brother's got what is this, your 5th book, 6th book, 7th book, maybe 7th?
I don't know. I stopped counting because before I was such a perfectionist that I would go back and redo a book. Now I'm not like that. Now I want to write well. I think now I've learned how to write. So now I'm more focused on articles, ebooks. I'm not really interested. I think the next book I write will probably be a novel.
Okay.
But I think I want to take that route. I think it'd be easier to explain what I do with a character or characters.
Nice.
And I can embellish certain things if I like. Whereas with this book here, Breathe, I'm basically sharing my story. I'm going into how I was accused of murder in Mexico and how I had to fight to get out of it. And I explained how someone from an African traditional medical system, spiritual system, assisted. And I explained how another particular medical doctor gave me insight as to how I should go about doing this thing. So that's what the book is about.
Nice.
And I'm really into the fact that I was basically fucked up.
Yeah.
And this book here shows how you can become unfucked.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Good
that's
point.
What it's about. But I use myself. I sacrifice myself and my own pride.
Key, right there.
education to explain it.
Yeah, key right there. So we haven't really elaborated a little bit. I mean, the last time we talked about it was about your how you say it, receptation. Your last book you wrote. That was the last interview we did. What, 2 years ago now?
Well,
2 years.
But really, this book is that book. But
Okay.
COVID, I couldn't promote the book, so I decided to be more honest about this book.
Okay.
I rewrote it. That's all.
Okay.
I just rewrote
So,
that book. And that's why I say that was the perfectionist that I was before.
Oh,
I
got
don't
you.
need to be like that. Now I can accept life as it is, and I can accept the fact that a lot of things that we see as mistakes in our life, are basically attractions,
Yes.
And we can use them to the best of our ability. We don't have to see them as bad things, and we don't have to celebrate them as good things either. But we do want to make sure that we can continue in forward momentum.
Yeah.
Even though there are going to be ups and downs.
Oh,
so
big
this
time.
book here is one of those books that it just basically lets me express what I feel about healing, about the medical industry. And when I speak of the medical industry, I'm not just talking about conventional medicine. I'm talking about traditional medicine. I'm talking about the herbalist as well. I'm talking about any practitioner that claims to be a healer. Anybody that says I can change your aspect of the mind, body, and soul. Okay, yeah, so I'm talking to that person. And I think there's a lot of garbage out there. I think there are changes that need to be made. And I think people need to be honest with themselves so they can be honest with their patients or clients.
Yeah, great point. Yeah, because a lot of people are too phony. Fauci, So, and it's interesting, too, how we get, because you do have these particular signature people that get on these news media. Not just the news media, but media in general. We know the media is kind of slided anyway. The big corporations owning them. They're telling you anything and everything. And people literally believe. They don't do their due diligence. That's the crazy thing. When we know, this is the thing. When we know all diseases have the ability to be healed or cured. That's the thing I never really could grasp. So we talked about this briefly a little bit. But we really haven't been recording. Maybe you might not be comfortable with this, but I wanted to get a little bit more into, since we have been going into a new era, right? We've been going into a new mindset, a new, I guess, a new era. I guess with this COVID-19 2020, experiencing that last year. Now we're starting to get out of this and start getting somewhat normal, if that claim what we think is normal. What is your thoughts on this transition with this coronavirus or the COVID-19 situation with all these vaccines popping off? Maybe I'm asking too many questions, but I just want to kind of feel what your, some of the emotional aspect, not just the emotional, but some of the research you've been doing with the coronavirus and some of the issues with the vaccine situation. What are some of your thoughts?
My thoughts are, if you do not need the vaccine, you should avoid it. But there are some people that have to work, have to care for their families, and they have jobs that require that they have the vaccine, so they'll need the vaccine. That's understandable. Afterwards, it's important that they now change or have a mind reset. They'll need a mind reset because they'll have to approach life differently, because eventually, if their immune system is attacked in some kind of way, they'll need to be able to actually strengthen that immune system or maintain that immune system. So that's very important. In terms of the mask, I disagree with the mask. I always have, but I know that you have to have them in order to enter some establishments. So be it. Other than that, I think that if you're alone in your car, if you're alone in your house, if you're alone outside, or you can trust the person that you're with, I think that you should not be wearing the mask. You do not want to activate the viruses that are in your body, the bacteria that is in your body. But by not being able to interact, that's what's happening. And that is why when people do start to come out, I think that we're going to see more damage.
Oh yeah, and we're seeing in slowly but surely. Yeah, you're right about that. We're seeing it. It's definitely signs of that.
Yeah, I hear people saying that the people that are receiving the vaccine have lower cases of COVID-19.
Okay.
Whereas the people that are not, they have higher. I don't agree with those numbers. I don't believe that. And I'm pretty sure statistics for other death rates have changed because so much has been given to COVID. You know, that the numbers can't be right for the next 2, 3, 4 years. You know, they won't be right because people are just lying because they just blame COVID for everything. You know, but I do see that sunlight, water, exercise, meditation. I mean, we're not looking at what we're attracting, you know. We're thinking that it's just a wake up and go to sleep, and when we are awake, there's more to life than that, you know. Like I said, it comes back to purpose. You know, and once we start to understand purpose, once we understand life, and once we understand just how dynamic the human body really is, we've been given a hell of a vehicle.
I know.
But if you abuse it, you know, it's not going to do what it's supposed to do.
No, and good point, because I noticed that even with the people I've been working with, they go and get these vaccine shots, and they're literally responding. Their bodies are responding crazy. I mean, you know, they're having these crazy response, what they're working with. The thing is with me, I don't understand that, okay, if you haven't had the vaccine shot over the past, as far as the flu shots and stuff, why are you deciding to get it now? That's the thing I don't understand, the psychology. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people are just following the herd, right? We're working with, you could call us zombies, you can call us, I mean, whatever the case may be. I mean, not sitting here degrading people or anything like that, but the reality is there. You know what I'm saying? It's observation, right? When you're working with a lot of people or you're around a bunch of people who just follow the herd or follow the guy, his name is Joe Biden or Donald Trump, without even questioning any of the motives. You know what I'm saying? Even like questioning your doctor. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, we get, I'm sure you get that a lot too. I mean,
yeah, I get questions that people are afraid to ask their other doctors. They ask me, and I think I've invited that. I have an approach, I have a style that allows the person to do that. And I think that allows me to build a relationship with the person, whether it be the first time or the 15th time that they visited. They know that they can ask me questions. They know that they can contact me via WhatsApp. So that's something that I've done, something that needs to be done, because we have a system whereas you pay, and that's it. You know, you may not be able to contact your doctor again. You may not be able to ask him or her questions. You may not understand something. I have people bringing their lab work to me so that I can explain their lab work from another doctor or from another laboratory. And I'm saying, sometimes it's not fair, but I know that it's something that I have to do. In terms of the COVID vaccine, what I will say is this. They've made it clear that even though you take the vaccine, it does not mean that you will not get COVID.
Yes. Great point. Great point.
Well, consider the fact that even though you've taken it, you can actually minimize your own immune system and invite other maladies into your body. So that's the sad thing about the vaccine. So it's almost like saying, why do I have to take it? What is it that you want to introduce to me that I need it so badly? And why do I need it?
And it's interesting enough too, yeah, because most people don't even know what the hell they doing anyway. They don't even know what they're putting in their body. That's another thing, because we're looking at the food. Look at the food. You don't, like you said before, a lot of people are not exercising. They're not utilizing certain things that we already have freedom of. You know what I'm saying? You got freedom to pick the foods you want to pick, far as good food, healthy foods. You know what I'm saying? Put whatever you need to put in your body that's healthy. Even like when you're talking lotions and, you know, things like that, we don't really pay it attention till later on, till we got some kind of crazy cancer or something happen. I mean, most of us are going to get some type of degenerative disease, right? Would you agree with that? That's going to probably end up killing us later on down the line.
I'll say that on a daily basis, we all experience some degeneration, but based on our immune systems, we're able to maintain or delete such degeneration. I'll say it like that.
Okay.
But will we all die of degeneration? I don't think that we all would die of degeneration. I'm saying we all have an expiration date.
Yes.
We have that. But I'm saying we do not have to die a slow, painful death. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, because I mean, and I wouldn't say I'm a believer, but I think what we do have the ability to tap into, like brothers say, at least living 150 years, or at least living 100 years, or I think we have that ability to do that. We have seen it over the past. We have seen in certain dives with the blue zones, the Okinawa's particular study, the China study.
Right.
Certain documentation that's actually available. Even the things you was doing, even the things Dr. Sabi and Dr. Africa and many other different brothers and sisters out there who's actually been tapping into these elements. The one thing I would say though, speaking on that, it's kind of interesting that we have we have more people. And I don't know where this is. Kind of interesting because the guy, the European, he's got this YouTube called the European, and he hit a good point. He was saying at least in the 80s, the 90s, we actually questioned things. Since we've been in the 2000s, it hasn't really been no questioning. It's just been go with the flow. I mean, look, the 9/11, certain events that has happened over the last 21 years, we haven't really been pushing the people. When I'm saying the people, and you haven't really been hearing as many doctors either being kind of upfront. You know what I'm saying? Even though this situation with this health pandemic's been going like crazy, or this medical situation's been going like crazy.
Okay.
Because I mean, we noticed that when our grandma was had diabetes. And that was rare back in the day. To me, that was rare. You didn't hear too many people like in the 80s and 90s that didn't have it. Then all of a sudden, in 2000, you started hearing little kids having diabetes and all this other crazy stuff. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? And it's like we have all. This is another question too. Maybe you can help me out with this question, but it's like we have all these particular people that's been educating far as the know-how, what's available out here, but it seemed like we're overloaded, right? Maybe we're overloaded. Medical, every industry is overloaded, information overload. So what I'm saying is, to clarify this, what I'm saying is like, we have all this knowledge and information out here. We got brothers like yourself that's been helping brothers, or available opportunity that's kind of being able to heal certain modalities or certain issues that are out there. But we fail to really pick it up. We fail to really take it at heart. Because I always wondered why everybody navigate to Dr. Sabi. And it hasn't been really no...
Well, I don't think it was as easy for him as it may appear. I mean, in hindsight, and now that he has, moved to the other side. I mean, it may appear as if, a lot of people followed him, and maybe he did have a lot of followers, and maybe a lot of people now want to use what it is, that brought him lots of attention. But before, I'm pretty sure he would say that a lot of people were ignorant, a lot of people are hard-headed, and things of that nature. I don't think it's easy. I think the American Medical Association and other medical doctors around the world have it very easy because their marketing has been going on for hundreds of years.
Yes.
Whereas something such as what Dr. Sabi was doing, it was unheard of. People have been told that there are so many irreversible or incurable diseases. So somebody like Dr. Sabi comes along and says, boom, this is what I can do, this is what I've done. people want to challenge him.
Yes.
Especially because he is not a so-called medical doctor, or doesn't have any type of doctorate. So people are bothered by that. Whereas here I am, I do have a doctorate. I am not a medical doctor, but I am in the medical field, thanks to Mexico. So So my approach to healing is so different, and it could be paralleled to that of Dr. Sabi or to Dr. Africa. But my approach is so much different than theirs. Even though I use herbal compounds, I'm using them to inject. I'm also using them in teas or infusions. I'm using them in capsules as well. But my main method is injection.
Nice.
And then when I start looking at, when I look at all the other plants that I've been able to take from Africa and throughout Mexico in order to make very effective compounds, I'm very fortunate. I'm very happy and pleased with that. So yeah, my approach is different. I'm pretty sure that Dr. Sabi didn't have it so easily. And I know that I don't. I know that I have my work to do, and I think that's part of ethic as well, because I've got to keep moving. I've got to keep doing what I do. And I have people that want to become students of mine. I haven't had a chance to really get my curriculum together yet, but within the next 30 days, I'll start introducing modules. So, people can start taking my courses and things of that nature, and I'll help to improve some people around the world.
Yeah, and you have been already. You have been doing that already.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I have been, but I'm saying not the way that I would like.
Yeah, and usually we are. Yeah, I get it, because usually we all like that. Because I'm a type of brother. I'm the same way. Even like with my body, I'm like, how can I improve? How can I improve more? My health. What can I do? How can I be more productive? How can it be more effective? How can I be more efficient? You know what I'm saying? And making things simple. That's what I do like about your processes, are certain things that you've been able to do, even with your modules and the trainings I have been going through with you, your modules and stuff. They're very, and not trying to be funny or anything like that, but you don't make it so complex where it takes it all out of content, where you make it simple. And you can apply the simple principles. That's the thing. I think a lot of these doctors, when you giving people medicine or so-called pills, and you can't even announce the pill. You don't even know what the hell the shit is, but you giving it to this person. You see what I'm saying? That in itself is like, why would you even do something like that? I mean, and then have the nerve to be like, okay, so he don't want to listen to my protocol, so I'm going to go this way and go get more and more, and then tell everything blow up. Then you're looking like Donald Trump or looking like Joe Biden, looking crazy. But it's crazy.
Now that you mention that, I will say this: if once I've produced a product, and I know that I trust my product, I take my product, I inject my product. So that's one thing about what I do. I mean, I deal a lot with stem cells, and I still remember coming out of school, I wasn't happy about the stem cell situation. And I said, this has to be improved. There's got to be a way that it does not hurt. There has to be a way that it can be done better. And that's one thing I worked on as well, so that we can introduce stem cells without hurting the person. Because I needed that person to be focused on healing, not on the pains. I didn't want them taking other things. So now we're working on I can say this, intranasal infrared light. So
nice.
By introducing that light to reduce the inflammation and also to excite the stem cells, we're trying to see whether or not we can get more production from the stem cell. I already know that I can differentiate or divide the stem cell with apoptosis with bee venom, but now I'm working on doing it with infrared lighting as well.
Nice.
So those are the type of therapies that I'm interested in. Those are the type of things I want to do. And I think that healing can be so much more simple. I think it has been complicated. As you say, I make my modules, I make my training more understandable. Yeah, I do that because I pride myself on being able to explain those things that are considered to be difficult to explain. So I want to make sure that the person understands. And sometimes, even though I think I am explaining things very well, I do find that some patients and their families are very confused. So yeah, the way I'm doing things now with healing, the way I'm doing things with medicines, fortunately, I have the know-how to actually do some things with medicine that I didn't have before.
Okay.
So I know within the next 2-3 years, I should be introducing even more medicinals to help people with the remedy, how would I say? I'm almost about to speak Spanish, but with illnesses that they could not have treated before. So
okay.
I look forward to that.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it too. I'm looking forward to it too because you definitely been pushing the envelope.
I'm hoping that you eventually, I hope you find yourself in Mexico eventually, so you can be a part of the process.
Yes.
And see what it is that I do, how to do it. And not only that, I mean, if you don't mind traveling, you may find it very easy to go back and forth from the United States and other places to Mexico. Because Mexico is my headquarters, and it's where I need to be. It's where I want to be. It allows me to help patients more from here than if I were in the United States. If I were in the United States, I would not be able to do what I do, and I would not have access to things such as stem cells.
Yes, agree. Because like you had mentioned, it's three things or two things that came to mind. You use it on yourself. That's another thing I enjoy about what you're doing. You test your own work, and that's the thing too. I think a lot of people don't really pay attention to. You know what I'm saying? Because you definitely, as you use it on yourself, you can perfect the game. That's the thing. Perfect the game. Kind of like when I'm explaining these exercises or building somebody's workout for them. What are the elements? What are the certain things mentally? What are we working with? How can we be more successful with our environment? What do we need to do to set up an environment? What are the tools that I need to have around me? Like writing things down. You see what I'm saying? And then the other thing, just to build on what you just said, is language. That's what I do like about reading your books. So when I'm reading your books, now I understand when I'm going into your modules or going into your particular lessons that you're given, I understand the language because I actually had a story you gave in your books or your publications or your articles that I can relate with. You kind of see what I'm saying? Right. So, and that's just my experience. That's just me personally. You know what I'm saying? As far as interacting with you, that's one of the things I do respect highly of you because I'm like, okay, if this brother is getting these kind of results, why the hell nobody else well, don't take me wrong. There's a lot of people paying attention. You know what I'm saying? But, that's why you're one of my sponsors. That's why I enjoy pushing your products, pushing your brand. Because you definitely make a lot of things just make sense. Don't take me wrong. We could talk about, like, what is his name? Ben Greenfield and all these other people that's actually, you know what I'm saying? They're doing their thing, but then at the same time, you're kind of like, to a point where, like, okay, is it just about what, I think we tend to push like a lot of bullshit, like a lot of glamour type scenarios, if that makes sense. Okay. We don't really push like the, I'm not saying you got to do the bootstrap, because a lot of the bootstrap stories are not even real. Most of them people were middle class or high up. Kind of like the Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos came from a wealthy family, a middle-class wealthy family. Okay. Elon Musk. If you really want to break it down, don't take me wrong. When we really start getting into some of things like that, I'm not saying everybody's experience like that, but the language, all I'm saying is talking about the language, getting an understanding what the language, therefore I can relate with the situation. You practice you was a vegan for all these years. So it makes sense with me when you're bringing in the bone broth. That just makes a lot of sense. You know what I'm saying? And stop being caught up in the beliefs, because that's basically what it breaks down, especially with you.
A lot of vegetarians won't agree with the use of bone broth. So I don't say I'm a vegetarian. I don't say I'm a vegan. But I do know that I have to be cognizant of the fact that a patient and myself, we're different, so I'm not going to tell them that they have to eat like me. No, I'm not. But I will introduce to them what it is that they need in order to detoxify their body, And once we've done that, if they decide to go back to eating meat, I'm telling them how they should go about doing that as well. But again, if I had to choose between sugar and meat, sadly, I'd be choosing the sugar. I mean, because when we look at the damage, and I know somebody's going to argue, well, sugar is this, and sugar is like cocaine. You know, yeah, they're going to. Yeah, but I'm telling you right now, before I start eating pus and blood and flesh, I'll stick with the sugar. And not saying that I eat sugar. Yeah, I'll eat some sugar. I'll eat something sweet. At one time, I had a very bad addiction to sweets. And I don't have it anymore.
No, I agree with that. Will there be anything you would like to... We're coming down to the few minutes, and I just wanted to know, is there anything you'd like to share before we end this interview?
Well, for those people that are interested in finding out who I am, I think the book Breathe is a great introduction to who I am and what it is that I do. It will give them an idea of how to actually approach me and what to expect once they've contacted me. And then we could go from there, you know, so they can check me out at Breathe, BREATHE, book, BOOK.US. They can check me out there, and they'll see the ebook that is available there. They can also go to Amazon and find the book, but I'd rather they support me. And they can also get 8 of the chapters for free with the Audible book. All they have to do is go to the site, download it.
Nice.
And they're in.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah. And
so that's it. I definitely appreciate you taking the time to question me. You know, anytime you need me, I'm available. You know, I enjoy speaking with you, and I appreciate what you do in terms of showing people how to improve the human body.
Yeah, and I appreciate you, brother. I thank you for all your time coming out and your patience, and it literally, truly being patient with me too, especially when I'm asking you all these crazy questions about learning about the bee venom and you know, stem cells and whatnot. You know, but I
understand.
You know. But on that note, I appreciate you, brother, and I thank you again for coming on the You Are the Gym podcast show, and we appreciate you highly, man. Much respect.
Hey, thanks. Be peace.
Peace.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.